Good morning, asinifisele sinimukele lo mhla ehleleni Kusile Breakfast Show sibonga futhi namhla ekseni nivuke nathi lo mhla kungilesine. It is the 16th of March 2023. Njengoba kungilesine nje sidaba sititeka tindzaba lamhla lopha ehlelweni njengoba uxokumla ukuthi njalo ngeminyaka mhla ka 15 March umhlaba ukubhala ilanga labathengi International Consumer Day. Lilanga ke leli lelasonyiswa ngomhla hlangene ngeminyaka 1983. It was inspired by President John F. Kennedy wathumela a special message to the US Congress in 1962 lapho akhuluma ngetinsaya debathengi abengumholi wekucala kukwenda lokho kanti ke this year lo msebenzi noma ke lelanga litabele kujwa ngaphansi kwesicubulo lesithi empowering consumers through clean energy transitions. Ngekusho kwenhlangano ye-Consumer International emavela amaningi abhekene netinkinga tekubabete gesi lekuyintfo lena lebese iba nemthelela lomkhulu kubathengi. In the studio sibe sikhulumisana na Consumer Protection Manager Linda Dlamini losuka Eswatini Competition Commission ngamalungelo ebathengi. Kulamalanga ke babhizi nemsebenzi lapho khona bavakashela tindzawo letiningi bafundzisa sona sive samaswati ngemalungelo abo njengebathengi. Sibe sekuthi ke nga 7:30 sibe sesikhulumisana na Sales and Marketing Manager losuka eMandini Boreholes Ayanda Ndlangamandla njengoba ndakumla ukuthi njalo ngalabesine sidlala sikhulumisana nayo lenkampani lena kufaka abantu ngema services kanye nema products laba waniketa sive nomhla sibe sikhuluma kabantu ngewater ground sibe sinayo nomhla ekseni nga 7:30 sibe sikhuluma kabantu nje ngema advantages kanye nema disadvantages namhla ekseni nga 7:30 kwanyalo asaselikefu sitabuya netindzaba tetfu.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3 hash and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Welcome back. 4 minutes after 6 sawungena etindzaba tetfu namhla ekseni. Imvunayo ekwatisa nekuchumana inkosatana sikhanyiso ithi emave esifundzeni sakaSadak kumele abambane asebenze ndawonye kude kuthuthuke tekuchumana kulesifundza kusebenziswe netebuchwephesha tesimanje manje. Imvunayo imelelwe ngumabhalane lomkhulu etiko phesheya Dube emhlanganweni lobuke ukuthuthukisa tindzaba tekuchumana kulesifundza iSouthern Africa Telecommunications Association.
Emalunga e-Southern Africa Telecommunications Association SATA alapha eveni kutoshila naligwaye tindzabeni tekuthuthukisa tekuchumana mabhalane lomkhulu etiko letekwatisa nekuchumana phesheya Dube lebekamalele indvuna lelitiko utsi njengoba lwati lungenamingcele kumele ke emave asebenzisane kutekuchumana.
Your conference will be focused on ensuring that our multi-country collaborations deliver affordable solutions to the regional populations. The current era of COVID-19 has clearly proven that ICT is at the center of our livelihoods.
Uthi uyethemba ukuthi nenkampani yemabhosinethi incingo itawufunza emaveni lakhona kulomhlangano itibuke nokuthi imephi kuTekuchumana. Umphathi wayo inkampani yemabhosinethi incingo Themba Khumalo uthi amathuba emakethe emaningi etindzabeni tekuchumana wanxusa-ke ukubambisana kwemave.
ICT, we all know, plays a very pivotal role in the socio-economic development of a country. Therefore, we must strive to offer the best affordable solutions at all times. In our bilateral negotiations, it is important that we work towards a win-win for our companies and SADC at large.
Mapalane wayo-ke inhlangano yakasatha Jacob Munoda wafa uthi uyethemba ukuthi utawuthi uphela lo mhlangano wonke umuntu utawube azuzile ngandlela tsite.
Is us as an industry, we need to motivate for policy development. What are the things we want which can help us achieve our goals and targets?
Siqubula salo mhlangano sithi kuhlanganisa sifundza sakaSADC nemhlaba ngetekuchumana kanti-ke utawuphela ngalesihlanu kulo-ke leli viki. Etindzabeni ngengiyani Msibi nginasimuva Shongwe seHappy Valley ezulwini.
Lijaji lenkantolo lenkulu Maxine Langwenya selimgwebe iminyaka lengu-65 loyo lowake waba yindvuna yelitiko lemisebenti lemikhulu nekutfutsa Ntuthuko Dlamini. Kulesigwebo Dlamini utawudvonsa iminyaka lenge-20 ejele.
Loyo bekatse indvuna yelitiko lemisebenti lemikhulu nekutfutsa Ntuthuko Dlamini nathi 12 ngenyanga eNdlovu lenkulu eminyakeni lophelile walahla macala amathathu ekubulala kanye nalinye lekuba nesibhamu ngaphandle kwemvumo. Kulamacala amathathu ekubulala inkantolo imgwebe 20 weminyaka licala lilinye yasekuleli lekuphatha sibhamu ngalokungekho emthethweni yamgwebe iminyaka lesihlanu noma-ke inhlawulo lebita imali engu-5,000 emalangeni. Lijaji lenkantolo lenkulu Maxine Langwenya lithi letigwebo litawuhamba kanye kanye lokutakwenta ukuthi abhadle ejele iminyaka lenge-20. Kungimanje Ntuthuko uneminyaka lengu-48 budzala. Lamacala ekubulala labhekene nawo ngulelo lekubulala Themba Tsabethe, lesibili lekubulala Sikhulu Shongwe bese lesithathu lekubulala Simon Dlamini. Bonke laba bebakatse basebandleni lemphakathi waseluyengweni. Lijaji Langwenya lithi Dlamini akakhonanga kutfula ubufakazi lobunetisako nalobukhomba ukuthi uyaliconza lelicala ukuthi lilikhuni. Leli jaji lithi umbuso waletha bofakazi lobusekelwa yindvuna yaseluyengweni kanye nebufakazi lobufungele bemfolokati waTsabethe kanye naloyo waSimon. Leli jaji lithi noma lokubulawa kwalaba labathathu bekatse kunganasidingo kodwa bekatse kungasiko lokuhleliwe. Lichubeka lithi Ntuthuko wehluleka ukudibamba kuleya ncushunqushu. Lijaji Langwenya lithi aliconzi ukuthi kungani Ntuthuko enta ngalendlela lenta ngayo leyashiya befelokati kanye netinsanzane kani indzaba besakatse ayibikele emaphoyiseni lebekamthembisile ukuthi atawufika. Lithi ngekubhadla ejele Ntuthuko utawuba nesikhathi sekuthi akucabangisise ngesento sakhe abese uyabona ukuthi akukhathalekile ukuthi ukwate kangakanani kodwa akukafanele ukuthi umuntu athathe umthetho awubeke etandleni. Etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla isenkantolo lenkulu.
Isikela lemcondzisi wetinkhulumo endlini yabayesikhulu Madala Mhlanga sewamukele endlini lilunga lephalamende lenkundla yaseMathanjeni South Bomba Mamba kulandzela ukuthi atfole imvumo yekutokela ngaphandle enkantolo lenkulu ecaleni lekutama kubulala. Lokhu kundeke iphalamende ngesikhathi indlu yabayesikhulu ichubeka nemsebenzi wendlu.
Ithi nayihlala indlu yabayesikhulu ngalesithathu lisekela lemcondzisi wetinkhulumo ephalamende lophindza belunga lephalamende lenkundla yaseMahlangatsha Madala Mhlanga wemukele endlini lilunga lephalamende lenkundla yaseMathanjeni South Bomba Mamba kulandzela ukuthi atfole ibheyile evikini leliphelile ngalesine ngemacala lafaka ekhatsi kutama kubulala attempted murder kulamanye. Indlu ichubekile nemsebenzi welisuku lapho khona bosihlalo bemakomiti labuke kusebenta kwamatiko ahulumende betfule imibiko yokudzingidvwa kwemibiko yalamatiko eminyakati imali wahulumende wa 2022-2023 lapho bekuphindze kudzingidvwe khona emaphakelo alamatiko eminyakati imali wahulumende wa 2023-2024. Indvuna yelitiko letemafa neRickenback ibese icela indlu ukuthi yendlulisele ekomitini lelibuke kusebenta kwalelitiko endlini yabayesikhulu imigomo yekusebenta kwesikhwama semfundzate scholarship fund kanye nemigomo yekusebenta kwesikhwama lesitawunakata imali letitfolwa live laseswatini kaSACU iSACU Stabilization Fund. Kuse nakungena sishukumiso leside satiso motion without notice lesishukumiso elunga lePhalamende lenkundla yasekwaLuseni Sibusiso Dlamini lesithi indvuna itiko letekulima Jabulani Mabuza ayinikete sicinisekiso endlini ukuthi salandzelwa yini isincomo sendlu ngekuniketwa ithenda ekwakhiweni kwelidamu lempakeni emalunga asicitsile lesishukumiso sasawubuye sikhulunyiso uma futhi indlu ihlala. Indlu yabaye esikhulu ibese yaguca ke langeni lesithathu. Etinzabente Eswatini TV kubika Samkeliswe Khoza kunasikhumbuzo Dlamini ePhalamende.
Inhlangano yakamhlaba yetempilo i-World Health Organization seyihlomelise abafunzi bematiko lahlukahlukene labafaka ekhatsi emaphoyisa nebetempilo kulandzela ukuthi bacedze kufundza tifundvo tetekuphepha emgwacweni pheceleti road safety auditors. Mabhalane lomkhulu etiko lemisebenti lemikhulu nekutfutsa Thulani Mkhaliphi utsi lo mhlangano ubone sidzingo lesikhulu ngoba live leSwatini belinamunye auditor.
Njengamanje lakuleli senebantu labanetifiketi ekuhlola kuphepha kwemigwaco labayimfica. Mabhalane omkhulu etiko lemisebenti lemkhulu kanye nentfutfuko Thulani Mkhaliphi usithi ingoti etinyenti tibanga imigwaco lengekho esimeni lesihle.
Kwende imigwaco ukuthi iphephele kithi sonke nje lezinga lakhona liphakame libe sedulu kakhulu. Besithi ke thina lesisebenza lemigwacweni siyabuka ngeliso lokubuka nje lokuthi imigwaco yethu ayisiyo lephephile. Lokho ke kuliqiniso langemambela lokuthi imigwaco yethu ayisiyo lephephile and sifuna kwenda konke lesingakwenda lokusemandleni ethu ukuthi imigwaco yethu iphephe.
Lubeyakatsamele lihovisi lakamhlaba kuletempilo kuleli i-World Health Organization Dr. Freddie Saborwa uthi lokucecesha kwalaba labatobuka kukuphepha kwemigwaco kutawusita kakhulu ekwehliseni tingoti temigwaco.
So this was an excellent team bringing people, this team of 8 people from the different sectors so that we can form a functional team, not a structural team, because we know they are coming from different sectors, road council, the different ministries, but a functional team that works together.
Lokhulumela abafunzi kube ngisandile gama uthi sabake bawenta umsebenzi wekuhlola umgwaco lehlukahlukene kuleli.
Lokuhle nyalo ngiloko ukuthi lolwadi nalolukhono selilakhaya. Solo sibuyile nje siwendile ama-audits ngekwehlukahlukana kwemigwaco.
Labafunzi bebakazi bafundzele eveni laseNingizimu Afrika kanti letifundo tithezele okungenani inyanga. Etinzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla. Nginasikhumbuzo Dlamini Sisembabane.
Mabhalane lomkhulu etiko letemfundvo bheka igama uthi litiko sololimile ekutheni bafunzi abangahambi libanga lelidze kuya esikolweni. Ukusho lokhu nakabutwa ukuthi sekubambeni singasakhiwa isikole lesiphakeme saseMatshani bese kuphela iminyaka litiko lethembisa kusakha. Kanti bafunzi kungmanje bahamba libanga lelidze nabacedza libanga laka grade 7 eMatshani primary kuya etikolweni letiphakeme.
Eminyakeni lembalwa leyingcile litiko letemfundo lahlaba lisoyi lathembisa kwakha isikole lesiphakeme saseMatshana High School kulandzela ukuthi bafunzi besikole esincane saseMatshana Primary bahamba libanga lelidze nabacedza libanga laka standard 5 kuyothola isikole lesiphakeme kude bayeka form 1 njengoba ke kungmanje bahamba emakhilomitha la10 kuya la15. Sibuteke Mabhalane lomkhulu etiko letemfundo bheka igama ukuthi sekubambene kungacala kwakhiwa kwalesikole.
Besizama kusifaka elihlelweni I think lomnyaka lophelile nakuloya uhlelweni lesikole besakhona kwaJapan. Unfortunately ngalokuthi lokuhamba kwakhona kulukhulu ufika khona terrain akahambeki. Ibese seyiyenda ukuthi nalabo abafuna kunendela kunika lo sito bese bathi akufikeki la. But kulesake sakusho sacela ukuthi mane kumbe mane sisitane nenkundla bengiyo le manje sakhela amaklasi okucala kumbe lamathathu uqala lesikole bese ke litiko selabeya litamakuqedza lokho lokungahle kushode. Siyakhulumisana ke njengoba nathi ukuthi tigoti kunya kulula kusikole sakheke enkundleni lenye indzawo khasi kukhonyana. Lendzawo lena vele isetulo njengasentabeni yanyuka jibela ngolo kwenda ukuthi noma ngabe sesithole bamvu bathi asikhona ukufika.
Uthi abakakhohlwa ukuthi kungumgomo welitiko ukuthi bafunzi bangahambi libanga lelidze kuya etikolweni. Sikolwa uthi-ke sona sitawukwakhiwa. Etindzabeni ngengiyani emsebenzini Simuva Shongwe eMatshane.
Imvotsalo ebeyikade iSomali enye intfombi seyibekwe licala lokwephula umthetho wololwane kuhlukubetana ngetebulili neludlame emakhaya eSwatini kulandzela ukuthi isolakale ukuthi ihlukubetele intfombi ngekwelicansi. Lo msolwa lo ngidumisa mbutho mbingo uthole imvume etokela ngaphandle enkantolo lenkulu ebita 15,000 emalangeni.
Lendvodza lengidumisa mbutho mbingo ibekwe emacala lamabili lelekucala ngilelo lokwephula sigaba sesihlanu emthethweni lolwane kuhlukubetana ngetebulili neludlame emakhaya ngo-2018 ngenyanga yaBhimbidvwane kulomnyaka losetulu. Umsolwa wenta sento tsite esithweni sangasese semmangali ngephandle kwemvumo yakhe. Lelesibili licala ngilelo lokuphula umthetho wekuphatsa umuthi the-Opium and Habit Forming Drug Act. Kuthiwa umsolwa nathi siphohlongo kule nyanga watfolakala nesango lenesindvo lesingu-300 kg ede imvumo. Emaphepheni kutokela ngephandle lakawafaka enkantolo lenkulu lomsolwa uthi waboshwa amaphoyisa asemafutheni nathi siphohlongo kule nyanga lesetulu. Umsolwa uthi umsulwa kula macala labekwe wona futhi angeke wavume uma selitekwa lelicala. Ecaleni licala lekuhlukubeta ngetelicansi lomsolwa uthi uyamangala ukuthi kazibo bani laba makhela lelicala lemata sifunti sakhe uthi futhi akati ukuthi kaze laba makhela lelicala abahlose kuzuzane ekugcineni. Uthi sojake ukuthi lelicala salelingene embi kwelijaji lapho khona atawufika akhombise khona ukuthi umsolwa uthi kona uyasathi simangali kulelicala njengaloku beyakatha sisoma uthi yena akasuye lelihlobo lomuntu lelingahlukubeta ngetelicansi akayiphathi ke kwenta ngalendlela lekuthiwa wenta ngayo kusimangali. Kuleli lesibili umsolwa uthi lensanga akusiyo yakhe. Lo msolwa uthi akakacasha uthi iphilisa ngekulekelela abanikati bemaloli ngekulayisha sihlabathi neplasta. Ujinga futhi atfole bonsumbulwane elasecembini lakhe lebhola. Uthi unakekela abantu babakhe labathathu kanye namakwakhe. Inkantolo lemkulu imnike ibheyili ya-15,000 yaseyithi akabhadele 3,000 emalangeni bese 12,000 ibasibambiso. Etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla isenkantolo lenkulu.
Sihlalo wenhlangano yabathengi kuleli mandla njakala uthina noma elive lichubeka nekwenta taba letibonakalako kunakekela emalungelo ebantfu futhi sesetinyenti tinkinga lababhekene nato kufaka ekhatsi kudula kwetintfo etitolo. Njakala bekakhuluma ngelilanga lemalungelo ebathengi leligujwa njalo mhla til-15 enyangeni lesetulu.
Lamhla til-15 enyangeni yeNdlovulenkulu emave emhlaba agubha ilanga lemalungelo ebathengi kukhumbuta abahulumende ngetindzaba tekunaka emalungelo abo bathengi. Sihlalo wenhlangano yabathengi kuleli mandla njakala uchaza tinsaya letisebhekene nebathengi lapha eveni.
Ema-consumers lakhaya eSwatini anetinkinga letitsite lahlangana nato. Yebo kona kukhona lesikubonako kuzanywa kwendiwa kwe-government nalamanye ema-institutions kuhlangabetana naletinkinga. Tinkinga letinkulu nje ukuthi phela simaSwati sifuna ukuthi siwubone umthetho lotawuqondana strictly nema-consumers abe protected. Lokho kufaka ekhathi lokho ukuthi lo mthetho ubukede onke emalungelo ebathengi lase ake abathinzwa nje esikhatsini lesiningi. Kumbe lokunye lesingakubukeda ukuthi ema-consumers esikhatsini lesiningi nabathenga la etitolo ayahlangana naletinkinga ngoba i-majority yemaswati se-aware ngale mithetho leconzene nabo.
Lobuke kuvikeleka kwamalungelo abo bathengi ebandleni lelibuke kugcutselana kwamabhizinisi nebathengi Lindandlamini uthi leli bandla lisukumise lihlelo lokuvakashela emadolobha kufundisa abathengi ngemalungelo abo.
Sifundisa bathengi ngemalungelo abo lafaka ekhathi ukuthi nangiye esitolo ngiyawuthenga phela ngikhanze lenthengo noma le price ebhaliwe ungaze kumbe kuthatha isikhathi solomane ngehla ngenyuke ngoba lokunye lokupromota lokuthi emalungelo ebathengi apheldeke noma aphatheke kahle kuye kube ngilokuthi lenthengo ngiyakhona ukuthi icathanisela mina njengemthengi bese ngithenga la kufinyelela lekiki lami khona. Bese kwesibili sekoba ukuthi letinto lethengiswako phela atibuke ukuthi umthengi ngeke bese uyakhinyabeteka empilweni ngingathengi into letaseyiphathamisa impilo yami.
Emalungelo bathenga afaka ekhathi ukuthi kumele batiseke ngaloko labakuthengako nekuthi batiseke ngelizinga laloko labakuthengako. Etindzabeni eSwatini TV kubika Samkeliswe Khoza nginavuma iNkosi Nsinisa eMbabane.
Kulandzela umhlangano emkhatsini welitiko letasekhaya nebandla lelungiselela luhambo loluya eveni le-Israel. Litiko letasekhaya litsandza kwatisa bonke labafuna ukuvakashela eveni le-Israel eluhambeni lwabo lwetenkholo pheceleti Israel pilgrimage ukuthi kusemisiwe kwesikhashana kwakhiwa kwama-international passports abo. Ite inhlangano leyatiwa ngekuthi Universal Peace Federation ilethe timphepha letitsite. Ngekusho kwamabhalane lomkhulu kulelitiko Nhlanhla Nxumalo litiko libambe lomhlangano nje kulandzela incwaba yeticelo letivela kubafundisi labafise ukuvakashela eveni le-Israel ngenhlanhla lembi bonke labafake ticelo abakakhoni kuletha yonke imininingwane ledzingekile kude batfole lama-passports. Nxumalo uthi litiko libese licela labo labalungiselela lolu hambo ukuthi bavete lamaphepha ladzingekako kepha-ke nabo behlulekile. Uthi kube ngileso sizatfu-ke lesende litiko nalabahlela lolu hambo ukuthi balumise kwamanje. Umphathi wenkampani elethenga iphindze ithengise ummbila ye-NMC Mavela-Velane uthi bayinkampani batimisele kusekela tinhlangano letisacatfuta ngayo yonke indlela lebangabasekela ngayo kude tikhule. Bekakhuluma endzaweni yaseGebeni ngesikhathi ye-NMC anikelela inhlangano yabomake yekulima leyatiwa ngekuthi Luganganana Women in Farming ngabomanyolo netinhlanyelo.
Inhlangano leyatiwa ngokuthi Luganganana Women in Farming inhlangano yetekulima yabomake lesebakhulile endzaweni yaseGebeni bonke labaneliphupho lekutiphilisa ngekulima iwatermelon, bhatata nemabhontjisi. Sikhulu-ke sidzingo sokubanjiswa basadama kufeza liphupho labo. Inkampani lethenga phindze ithengise ummbila i-NMC ibanikelele ngamanyolo nenhlanyelo nekwekufutsa. Umphathi waka-NMC Mavela-Velane uthi bayathembisa kubabambisa labomake.
Si-committed sing-NMC njengoba ngishito ukuthi sibone umkhiqido wemmbila nemabhontjisi ukhula eveni laKangwane nekuthi eMaswati ayithole nawo imakethe yawo le-fair yalombila kithi kungathi nje senikuvunile senihleli nako.
Lilunga lephalamende lenkundla yaseNtondozo Moses Vilakati licele ukuthi babambane kude liphupho labo lifezeke. Kanti sihlalo walenhlangano Sindi Msibi uchaza kabanti ngalenhlangano netidzingo tayo.
Sito siyalicela kakhulu ngoba lena site mandi site fenisi nalendzawo yethu inetihlahla idzingathi sigubhe letihlahla laphasi.
Inkosikazi Thandi Khumalo ithi inhloso ukutiphilisa ngetekulima kungako-ke badzinga kusekelwa.
Bakhulile kodwa labantu labadzala bakhombisa inshisekelo babe CEO ngilokutaka kwenta ukuthi nawe usabuyele ekhaya ubone ukuthi ushiye abantu labadzala labatimisele ngekuvuka bete kulendzawo batozama kusebenta.
Basike batawuwa bavuka kuqinisekisa ukuthi bayalifeza liphupho labo. Etindzabeni ngengiyani Msibi nasimuva Shongwe eGebeni.
Abantu labasha labanyenti labachuba emabhizinisi bete lwati lolwanele lolungenda emabhizinisi abo ukuthi agcine angilandlondlobele ngaloku bajabulisako. Lokhu kushiwo ngulofundzisa ngebhizinisi kaSedco Sibusiso Musi ngesikhathi yafundzisa abantu labasha labange-20 labangenele umchudzelwano wabosomabhizinisi lochutshwa yinkampani yakaSedco kanye nenkampani yabomahlalekhukhukhwini MTN Eswatini.
Uhlangothi lececesha ngebhizinisi enkampanini yahulumende lebothuthukisa abosomabhizinisi labancane iSedco Sibusiso Musi uchaza ngekuthi ukhanze bashoda ngani labosomabhizinisi labangena umchudzelwano wacisha ngebhizinisi.
Abaholi ngesikhathi esifanele ukhanze ukuthi le mali bayitapuna ngelanga noma ngeliviki kanti umsomabhizinisi kumele le mali oyiholako kwade ukuthi uyihola mhla kabani mayiphela inyanga. Ngiko lokubanga ukuthi le mali igcina ishoda ngokuthi makabona somabhizinisi imali ikhona socabanga ngathi inkinga tasekhaya kanti le mali yafuneka la bhizinisini.
Labo somabhizinisi labangenele umchudzelwano wacisha ngebhizinisi bachaza ngaloko labakuzuzile.
Kuzuzile kuleli hlelo ukuthi emabhizinisi kufanele ukuthi arane ngendlela yokuthi kunemabhuku lekufuna business plan uqala kiko ngiyona la kujengisako imap ukuthi kahle kahle ibusiness yakho lo tayenda itayenda yeni iprofit noma itayenda yeni iloss.
Kuningi le ngibone khona ema mistake lengwendile Lokho ngisite kakhulu ngale training, ngisite ukuthi ngikhonile ukuthola lwati more about ngale business ukuthi asengihambe ngiyolungisa 1 2 3 ngebusiness yami. Kakhulu nje ngingagcina emabhuku sengiyakhona yokwenda kahle ama records ngidobona ukuthi ngenda iloss or ngiya benefit kule business lengendawo.
Utangisita ngokuthi sengidakhona ukuthi balela ukuthi I break even ukuthi I costing nangokhona ukucharge al customer lami ukuthi I customer lami ngalichaja kanjani ngingathi khanzi ukuthi mina sengicharge ayisengicharge ngephasi noma sengicharge kakhulu.
Ubheke ukuthi ngalesihlanu ngokusekelwa inkampani yabo mahlale ekhikhini MTN Eswatini bosomabhizinisi labasihlanu labantu abahamba embili batfola imali lengu-20,000 emalangeni. Somabhizinisi amunye beqhube amabhizinisi abo eDinzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla navuma inkosi inzinisa sikamanzini.
Kutemidlalo Sibusiso Mathenjwa longisihlalo welibandla lelibuke inhlalakahle eDingijimi uthi sekakhona emathuba langasita eDingijimi letincane ukuthi litfole imifundzate emaveni lahamba embili emidlalweni wamadubane. Mathenjwa bekangenele umhlangano we-African Athletics Forum eveni lase-Algeria kulempela somvo lephelile.
Libandla libuke inhlalakahle eDingijimi lapha eveni Eswatini Athletics Commission Sibusiso Mathenjwa uthi kulomhlangano lwadinga ukuthi African Athletes Forum wemalanga lamabili labaungenele eveni lase-Algeria mhla 11 kuya kumhla 12 kulesetulu kuvelile ukuthi akhona emathuba lamahle kusidingijimi letincane talapha eSwatini tingatfola kusitakala kule nhlangano. Mathenjwa usila mathuba afake khasi kwekusidingijimi talapha eSwatini thambe tiyawuhlala kulamanye emave lasathuthukile kulomdlalo bakhona ukutilolonga.
So sikhulumile wabazivetela nema opportunities la available to assist them athlete through le activity grant lekhona lesithola kanye ngeminyaka which is $10,000 la senda khona ama activities awo ema athlete in terms of kuwakhulumisa sibe ne forum yethu thina as nationally sikhuluma tona indzaba leti affectayo as ma athletes sibuke nokuthi singasitakala kanjani going forward because this is our sport. Sikhuluma nje ma national federation akhona because of thina ma athlete cha inqumbi sikhulumile lokunye kwakhona sitabe sitaba nawo umhlangano lo dawo bakhona la kangwane lapho khona sitawuhlangana sonke sima athlete around the country la sitawu invite khona labo chair noma 2 in each federation then isitaba nabo bamfu labatawuta batosifundisa labachamba khona overseas labatosishare about lama opportunities la khona especially ku Athletics 365 whereby kutholakala khona ukuthi ungakhona kufunza ube ne certificate noma bangcoach noma uhamba uvula business.
Mathenjwa kulomhlangano bekathi ahambe nelisekela lakhe ephumulile nzinisa kanti ke badunyiswe kakhulu baholi betinhlangano temidlalo ematubani lelivekati lase-Afrika ngemsebenzi labawendile basamelela live lakangwane emidlalweni yangephandle. Umbiko ohlanganiswe ngeLinkedIn Gule na Fabrice Msonera tithombe tibuya kulo libandla le-Eswatini Athletics Commission e-Algeria.
Minutes after 60 phetha lapho tindzaba tethu lomhla ekseni sibahlola imali tsena sibuya sidaba sikhuluma nge-Consumer Day.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have for you. But we'll be right back just after the break and we'll give you more of Miss V. pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who paid for a TV license and what are they paying for?
The owners of TV set and a gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at NetBank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini Mobile Imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
Welcome back. Sikuvusele nawo losanza kuzivulela lo mhla ehlelweni Kusile breakfast ngelesine ngutili 16 enyangeni yeNdlovulenkhulu. Njalo ngeminyaka ke mhla ka 15 March umhlaba ukubhalilanga lebathengi International Consumer Day langa ke leli lasokonyiswa ngomhlabuhlangene nga 1983. It was inspired by President John F. Kennedy lowathumela a special message to the US Congress in 1962 lapho wakhuluma ngedinsayeya bathengi lababhekana nato abengumholi wecala ngcake kukwenda lokho. Namhla ke this year i-theme lesigubha lusuku ithi empowering consumers through clean energy transitions. Ngeke ngikusho kwenhlangano Consumer International emavela amanengi abhekene netinkinga tekubabete gesi lokuyimfo leba nemthelela lomkhulu kubathengi. In the studio we have Consumer Protection Manager losuka Eswatini Competition Commission lokukhuluma kabanti ngemalungelo ebathengi Linda Dlamini. Lamalanga nje balibandla baphuma umkhankaso okuvakashela emadolobheni akuleli kufundzisa nje bantfu kakhulukade ama-consumers ngemalungelo abo. Itolo sibabonile beba lapha edolobheni eMbabana. Sivusele Nkosi siyabonga ukuthi ube nathi lo mhla ekseni kumbe nje kuva bumcoka objective yalelanga le International Consumers Day bale kangana nje ukuthi vele nilwanzise lo lwadi ngemalungelo ebathengi.
Siyavusela kakhulu emsakati ngivusele nebabukele bemsakato lomcoka kakhulu eSwatini. Lelisuku lomcoka kakhulu ayi eSwatini kuphela ngoba phela silive nje kusiwa sesiphila ku global village la khona singakhona ukuthi silive sifunze ukuthi bomakhelwane na lamanye amave la khona emhlabeni asahambe kangakanani ekwendeni intaba ukuthi emalungelo emthengi avikeleke. Utawukhumbula lokunye lokumcoka ngalolusuku ukuthi tinkampani akusesito nje leti usuba nenkampani even linye itinde khona. So ukanza siletinye tinkampani tikhona kumbe ingaba khona SADC wonke noma ibe khona commercial region noma ibe khona nje Africa wonke. Manje ke lokuye kwendeke lokunye ukhanza ukuthi inkampani yenda tindvo ngalanga kithi. Iphinzi itende kwivendele bomakhelwane nakulamanye amave nje emhlabeni. Kufuna ke ukuthi singemave emhlaba sikhona ukuthi nase kukhona lesikutholile ukuthi kwendeka la ukuthi ngabete emalungelo emthengi sikhona ukuhlebela nabo zakwethu lilanga ke lesiniketa lolithuba lekubuketa ukuthi ingabe leti tekuchumana nalete kubambisana beceleti bo cooperation disachubeka yini ngendlela lefanele kuze ukuthi emalungelo emthengi afikeleke.
Inhlangano lana International Consumers iyavetela ukuthi vele emavela amanengi abhekene nensaye ekubabete kahle gesi. Siyabona nje lokho lokwendeka kwevela South Africa labo makhelwane nako lokho sokwenza ukuthi mhlambe sekuthika beta bathengi ama-consumers aba-adjusta ama-budget abo ukuze bakhone ukuthi vele baphile nalesimo lesikhona. Ngifuna sikhulume ngale theme ya this year nje si-NPAC lokuthi empowering consumers through clean energy transitions. Ngabe vele mhlambe lesisicubulo esihamba ngaso kulomnyaka sisithini kahle kahle.
Angibonga kakhulu lo mbuto omhle kakhulu lona. Indzaba yeku transition to clean energy indzaba leliphupho lelihle kakhulu. Lo ngikhuluma nje la ekhaya eSwatini ukhona gogo lo sabeke incwancwa yakhe etiko usebenzisa etinkhuni.
nawe uyakulabethe emvelo but awuthi hey atingajutshwa phela letihlahla ngoba ngitho letihlahla lethenda ukuthi kumbe le environment ikhona ukuthi igezeke ngoba nakukhona lo lesikukhipha kwema fumes letihlahla khona irole letidlala kwekuthenini ugcine kugezeka ungalimali kumbe le environment lesikuyo utawukhumbula ukuthi evendele bomakhelwane lo gezi lomningi lapha mkhicitha ngemalahle akhipha intuthu nayo leli mata lolithwathwasi ngilapho ke la kunakuthiwa asi transition asikhuthade ema consumers ngenzaba yokuthi kuyiwa clean energy nje kepha phela sikhumbuleni lokuthi asifanane emakhikhini kulabanye abantu ezikuyiwa kulo clean energy nje lokukhulunywa ngawo asikafundziseke ukuthi nakuthiwa lena isolar panel isebenza kanjani kwabona labantu abatangifakela vele ba accredited yini isikhathi lesiningi thina nje kuthiwa ukhona abantu bani uyakwadi ukufaka lokho sokufakile kusakhona ukusebenza consumer sokhipha imali yakhe lene ngididulile letinto leti fire cards bo lenzabata bo clean energy akusiyo nje into lo ungayithola unoma ngawungibani kanzi ilusito lolukhulu evele ngicabanga nje ukuthi Eswatini kunento lenhle kumbe lesizamako lokubhica siyaphehla gesi ngemanti sekunabo solar farm nyalo na ubheka kalavumisa khona nje na ubheka esiteki khona lenye lesike sayibona lokho ke ngilokuthi awenda ukuthi simthole gesi but abe ngilohlobile ngoba sisebenzisa nje ilanga manje nayo nensaye yake ngoba kwababethele ilanga lasibekela emandla lesiyaye sive ukuthi kukhona kusebenza ngako letinto akasafani nangalesikhathi lelanga likhona sekuyawenda ukuthi noma ngabe sengijwayele ukuthi gesi sohlala ukhona simthola kumbe ngendlela leseyinconywana ukhanze ukuthi sesiyakhona kusitakala lokunye ke lokuyingcinamba kumthengi ngilokuthi awu na kuphela siya investor kulabo alternative energy clean energy kepha ingani ngathi le nzengo ayifuni kwehla kuyafuna sisuke kulesi sigaba sesikubuke naloko kuzawo ngoba phela nako kuyavakala ukuthi sithola indlela letingcono nalezi tiphucukile tekwenda lo msebenzi wekuletha gesi kumbe noma emandla energy emakhaya nasemisebenzini lemkhulu kwendiwa yini lokuthi ke phale nzengo ichubeke yona ipholo kuya etulo ngicabanga ukuthi ema challenges lamaningi when it comes to let them we are alive to as a nation kulamanye emave nje nalese bakwendile lesikufunzile kakhomesa ikakhulu emavela kakhomesa ukuthi tinkampani letifuna ku-investa kule nizabata bo clean energy bohulumende balawo mave nakufika emthelweni bathi phela kubabukela ukuthi abangatheli kufanana ngathi nje solo baletha kumbe impahla lokhanza ukuthi batawakha nje inzuzo kuphela kepha ngoba sebata ubambisa umhlaba yokuthenini kwehle lama emissions ngekuthi sebata usebenzisa clean energy sengiloko lebekumele ukuthi nala kithi kumbe singakufunza ukuthi awu lokuthiwa bathenga lama solar noma bathengisa wona bangehliselwa yini nakufika emthelweni kepha ukhanza ukuthi kudzingeka imithetho letha ukona kushayo ukuthi ngabe live alisahlubini alisakhethi into inkampani ukuthi lena yenda naku lena yenda naku ngicabanga ukuthi ngiloko lokumcoka kakhulu kunetinto ke lesetendekile letinye ngenzabata bo clean energy lesitibone kusukela nga2017 I think April nje inkampani ye Volkswagen le VW ya fayiniswa imali enganga 2.8 billion eMelika ngoba bese ithi lo letimoto tayo ta diesel dia comply with lama standards aseMelika kanti sebafake kwe technology lokusitela ukuthi nayifunza lemshini yaseMelika ikhanze ngathi kuya comply kanti akucomply kubitwa ke lo nge green washing lokuthi umuntu wathi hayi lokwami is natural product 100% recyclable material ukhanza kubhalwe kanjalo la edimpahleni nakuletinto letithengwa ngilabathengi kepha ukhanza ukuthi na ungathi uyohlola sivele kunjalo ngalokho thina nje kwathiwa organic noma 100% what awusigijima siye lapho sinako ke lokungathi kuyangilungela ngicabanga ukuthi lolu suku lwayitolo lwa 15 March emave emhlaba alibekela kona lokuthi asesibukede ukuthi ngabe ema consumers angaphepha kangakanani kusa transition to green energy kunemathabela ngoti yonke into intuthuko lekhona iba nemathabela ngoti kukhona nje inzaba le ngasiyo green energy lengithi angicwayise babukele emakhaya kakhulu ngiyabonga nje usilitiko la ka Home Affairs lekhaya liyayibuka inzaba yokuthi bafundisi baya kaIsrael nawuthi uyaphenya lokuthi malini wazi 500 emalangeni nangazi nje asesibhuku itekisi sisuke lapha siye eMangayani ngabe kungaba ngimalini ngendeka ingaba ngedulu kwale mali bese ubala ke kusuka la khaya uye kaIsrael bathi hayi mahala ha manje nje ufaka 500 kucala lo mthetho we Fair Trading Act uyathi tsinza letindzaba leto netfaya khathe ama scams naloku market atindwa letingekho uthi uthembise ukuthi le product yakho yenda naku kanti ayikwendi nema holiday lavamisa ukhanza ukuthi ngihlangana noma nikapani letsithe tithi thenga nalo holiday nali hey lishiphe lele phasi sidakumikisa eThailand kufika isikhathi sokuthi sowuvalelise nebantwana ukuthi sowuyahamba eThailand ukhanze ukuthi indzaba yikho lapha nje ungathi bekubekwe ukuthi impela kuthiwa uhanjwa mhla ka20 kepha uyabona ukuthi mhla ka20 wafika kungakahanjwa umbutho ukuthi le mali yalabantu lebe bayibhadala laba labayibhadele kuyasolisa kakhulu ngiyethemba ukuthi nemaphoyisa atake sekayifakeleliswa lokuthi indzaba lenjengalena indzaba lesima kanjani ngoba uma utawuhamba kusifuna ukukhuthatha nje bathenga ngoba phela nase ngikhipha imali sengumthengi kufanele ukuthi nakufika isikhathi sekuthi le service lebe ngiyithenga ngiyithole vele ngiyithole ngendlela lefanele once it is too good to be true funa maswati nje akanake kwabukeka kwathi awusekuhle kakhulu ngendlela leningakayijwayeli kungenteka kuba kusiko angisho ukuthi akusiko kepha bengibekisa ukuthi kuyeMangayani tekisi nje lehamba phansi lamgwaqweni ngeke kungibide ngaphasi kwa 500 emalangeni umbuto ke ukuthi ngabe kuya kaIsrael ema-scams inqumbi noma ema-scammers inqumbi ithathe wethu asebenda ngokuthi i-desire yalomthengi ingakanani nabafika nje nakubantu wayefika umuntu basebenzise nakulezi kubita ngema prejudice noma ama fears sinema fears ngemtimba wethu lo munye uva ngathi isifuba sakhe sincane than lebe kasifuna lo munye lokho kuhlala kwakhe eve ngathi akusile indlela kufuna ngayo bese kuba nemuntu athi nayi product itawenda lesifuba sakho sikhukhumuka itawenda lokho kuhlala kwakho ngekuthi nginalawo ma fears lawo emtimba wami sengiyagijima ngenconsumer ngiyothenga ngiko ke ngithi naloku kimi ngenteka ngirong kepha nje kukwendeka ngalesi isikhathi ubuke ukuthi vele ingathi labetengiholo ikakhulu Christian faith bayathanda vele kaIsrael mane kude lelimasela bese sengiyaqhamuka ke mina sambeni kaIsrael nawuthi yabuda bangapi labantu lebe ngene bahambe akuvakali bathi awulayishwa ngani labantu labangaka nangabe akusi specific ukuthi wosifuna ukumikisa 50 noma 20 kuthiwa nje wonke lofunako akethe utamikisa kuyasolisa kakhulu kepha nje ngizama ukuthi eMaswatini ngosiyami langa lelikhulu lebathengi leli sibuya kulo nangabe bosokuthengile lokho asuphinze uvule emehlo ubuke lokuthi ingabe bengithenga kona yini ngingabe kusela lomunye ngathi asekweso ubashayele la uthi uya kaIsrael khona uthi so une conference kuleli viki letaka bakubuyisele le mali yakho sibone lokusithi awujika yini ngoba kuyafuneka ukuthi ihlolo letinto ukuthi ingabe vele kusebenza kanjani so lokunye lesiyaye sikukhuthathe ngeba lesiyekubithe ngema responsibilities a consumer indzaba ukuthi phela tenetise ethola lwati lolwanele nakusiwa nje nangumuntu uthi utangimikise eShayina na imali kunjani akubhadalo phela ngento etabathe kubuta lembili la siya khona ngoba nyalo sekwabalula sekwaba nabo email nato tonke indlela tekuchumana tesimanje ngihlole ukuthi vele ukhona yini ihlelo lonje lembili la siya khona nganothi khanza sengistranded ngiliswati ngiyinceke sengiya high khangisuka eHaifa kumbe eTel Aviv ngithi ngibuye eSwatini sekude kwekuhamba umcoka kakhulu ukuthi sistenedise irresponsibility yemthengi le hayi yemthengisi kutenedisa ukuthi le product lengifuna kuyithenga lele ngiyifuna kuyini isesigabeni lesingiso yini futhi itangisebenzele khona abantu abathenga into bese baba allergic sekuvuka ama allergy so uhamba uyocomplain kanti kwafike kwasho yena lela maphilisi wabita ngeligama so uthi kumthenga isicophelo awulinywatanga ngini kweta wena wathi ufuna lo ngakubuta uyakwathi lokhu uyakwathi kusebenza kanjani wathi uyakwathi naku kwese kukubhidla itatilonza esesitawenda njani ngumthengi lo wayo astenedise eMaswati lamahle ngayo yonke iproduct noma iservice noma ngabe yini lo ufuna kuyithenga emarket hlolisisa nangabe nje uthenga umshini wekuhesha cela phela lo mshini wekuhesha sebake bawuteste utowubona ngoba ngibone nje kunalomusha lese bawukhiphile nyalo bazi still 460 kanti bekune 450 utawukhanza ukuthi isisindo sawa sisafana nalo awukadenedisi ukuthi usethi awukhona yini ukuphatha lo sonemandla kangaka kucathanisa nalo wayitoli so kodwa ukhanza athi kusasa sekuthiwa kune consumer complaint bantu bathi bayalimala lamahlombe lo mshini uyabalima bekumele nakayothenga adenedisi ukuthi vele ongilesi sindo lestam sebendela yena nale impact leyo yalo msebenzi ekumele uwende lo mshini vele wenda kona yini bangabhali lapha ukuthi umshini ungasebenza 24 hours ukhanza ukuthi awusebenzi.
Yeah. Siselapho nje ngifuna ukuthi sikhulume nje kabantu vele ngawo lamalungelo ema consumers itolo nje tindzabeni uthenze yona indzabeke ukuthi kulungelo lemthengo ukuthi makafika esitolo ayikhanzele price lapha angabe solo amemeta afuna buta ukuthi invoice ngimalini athini vele lamalungelo ami kumbe ngibekise nasesitolo ngithenga impahla etsabukile kulesinye isitolo sekudla ngithenga kudla sengikhanza linwele noma sengikhanza tinshwana nje langekhathi kulokudla athini lamalungelo ami vele mhlawumbe kusineta nje lawo examples ukuthi uscenario leka so lilungelo lamthengi lithini
ngidawasho nje kumbe abe mabidlana lamalungelo lele kucala lelimcoka vele ngileli leluthola lwati information nangiyothenga kufanele ukuthi lo lwati ngalendvo lengidayithenga lube sebaleni lifake khathi price malini lokho kufanele ngitibonele mina ukuthi singwa lapha silishumi singwa lapha singbondo singwa lapha sing5 emalangeni ngidase ngiyakhona ke kwenda isinqumo sokuthi ngifuna nasi selishumi kepha nangabe sonke isikhathi kufuna ngidawuthenga ngibude kuyasolisa lapho khona nje itolo lengiyaye ngiyekudo nami uthi uyafika malini lesilamba lezi bathi how much you got uthi buthe lokuthi ushuthi price itawushiwo ngimi yena nakayocupha bekasita kuthengisa ngamalini lo nalokuthi ayisa displaywa ngani le price vele ngiyaye ngingatholi kahle ukuthi ungathi uyathengisa kepha lenze ngiyababona bomake basemarket vele ngoba ngeke yena kumbukhanza ukuthi unalo mshini wekubeka kepha uyayokhanzela omunye nje abeke ilibhodi mangoza 50 rand or 50 emalangeni libhaket nemuntu nje wasestaladini labanye bayakwenda lokho bhatata emgwaqweni ukhanze kubekiwe lipo sengehluleka ngisesitolo ke kubeka insengo ukuthi malini tiyasolisa kakhulu into le njengaleto ngoba umthengo uyawukhanza ukuthi uyafika uthi nginengulungwane kanti le nto mbambamba ibita 500 hayi lo 1000 umthengi sowulimele ke lapha basowuthenga indvo ngensengo lesetulo lebe ungakafanele athenga kepha ke lawa ngema tricks of the game ngidathi ngemasu alomdlalo wekuthenga nekuthengiselana labanye bosoma business baye babuke iprice ihambe nokuthi ugcoke njani ngiko nje angakayifaki ngoba ubuka lokuthi ulona ngathi unemali bese uyayinyusa lona ngathi uthi imali ehlise kanti nayibhaliwe noma kungafika lo nemali noma lodi imali utawukhanza nje iprice ikhona bese uyatikhethela ukuthi utawenda kanjani kwesibili indzaba yetekuphepha mangiyothenga ngingumthengi kufanele ngente isiqiniseko ukuthi lento lengidayithenga nelungelo lekuthi letinto lengitithengako tibe tinto letiphephile khona incingo nje bewukhanza ukukhala ngato itolo kuthiwa lama battery ato ayabhoma nakachajisa ucingo seliyabhoma lokho sekungangilimata kungalimata impahla yami kungalimata impilo yami umthengi ke unelungelo lokuthi kube abe ne access to safety nakufika etindzabeni ukuthi letinto latithengako bese ke kuba kuthinta netempilo nje usho nje tindzaba tetinwele lomunye I think ukhona lokwafika nje ngathi wathi uyathenga lapha wakhanza into lengathi isibungu la uyakushela ke nokuthi angiphinzi ngikuthenge lena so kukhona I think lokunye sake sakubona emaphepheni ukuthi lomunye wathi uvula lokunye wakhanza icondom lakhathi kanti uthi uthenga into lati ayisebenzisa ayidle naye nako kwaniketa inkinga ukuthi lokhu sekuqhamuka kanjani la bese kuba lapha kulenzawo lekuyo kungalimata ke tempilo lokho umbutho lomkhulu uthi ke what kind of redress yini into lengase ngiyayenda nasekuhlukubedekela amalungelo ami ngekuthi maybe lempahla akusiyo lebe ngithi ngiyayifuna noma isasebenza ngendlela efanele libandla ke le tekucuthelana lisebenta ngabo R labathathu shothi lo R wekucala noma lo R lomkhulu kunabo bonke ngilowe ku return lempahla uvumelekile ku return impahla nasengiyithengile uma ngabe ngasendi lokho lebesithembisene ukuthi takwenda ngingayi return ke for i replacement ukuthi bangishintshele banginikele kuvumelekile lokho ngingareturna futhi lempahla ngokuthi bangirefund lokusho ukuthi banginikete imali yami mina ngibanikelo kwabo ukhona nje besikhuluma naye itolo ufikele edolobheni wathi lesitolo sathatha imali yakhe saphinde sathatha nale nto bekayo ithenga so lokuhleli lesitolo lokusho ukuthi lo mthengi kuna 2000 emalangeni wakhe lohleli nalesitolo lesitolo ngento kase sithengisile naloku beka kuthengile bahlukubeteka bathengi kuletinye indzawo ngekuthi kumbe ukhanze ukuthi abawati lamalungelo kepha nase kafika itolo zesibathi kepha kwananawe nje umuntu so ucabanga ukuthi le mpahla loboyithenga bayithethe ngoba uthi de ayilunga nale mali lo wathenga ngayo bayithethe sisathengiselana yini lapho noma sesiyemukana kwesithathu ke aru ukuthi ngu-repair ungayi-returna le nto lobo uyithengile bese bayayikhenika bangacedza kuyikhenika bayibuyisele kuwe ngithenga ifridge noma bengithenga isitofu asisasebenzi ngendlela kanti ngiyasithanza le stofu kumbe sebabathe asimjinjisele nganasi lesimnyango mina ngithanza lo maroon wami le stofu sami lesimaroon angathi noma sikhona yini so uthi ke ngifuna stofu sami lesimaroon mina silungiseni ndapheze futhi nisibuyise nasesilungile ngilethi inhlobo ke lento tekuncempethela noma tekukhalela noma lesikubita nge-redress uma ngabe umthengi bese kathengile kwase kulimala lamalungelo kuyafika ke esigabeni sokuthi aboneleleke ngaleto indlela leto bese kwekugcina kumbe le kungasimvama kakhulu ukuthi ukhanze ukuthi ke sekuyaboshwana vele sengizothi ngathenga la walimala ilungelo lami ngicela manje ukuthi inkantolo ikwende iphocelele wena mthengisi ukuthi ungincempethele ngemali lengaka kepha akusimvama la kithi isikhathi esiningi sisebenzisa lokukhulumisana nokucocisana bagcine umthengi nemthengisi babona ngaliso linye.
Okay, kokugcina nje Nkosi sesina 1 minute kubuta nje ukuthi siyanibona ukuthi vele nivakashela amadolobha ingabe nakuleli vikini idabe nikuphi nokuthi nje naba bathengi bafisa kubuta bangaxhumana nani kanjani?
Akasihlole umthengi namhlanje sisenhlangano edolobheni kusasa sidabe sisedolobheni elikhulu la kaManzini info@comco.co.za liposi lemoya leli anytime Facebook ukhona Eswatini Competition Commission Twitter ukhona Eswatini Competition Commission umlaleli akachumane nathi sitawukhona ukuthi simbambise la singakhona kumbambisa akusiko malula akusiko malula ngiyaye ngithi nawungena nje esitolo kunemnikati kunetisebenzi kuphinze kunebameli lokhanza ukuthi bamelele le dotitolo kepha lo mthengi uhamba yedwana yena kanamvikeli ukhona ke Eswatini Competition Commission ufise kuti veta njengemuntu lo tawubambisa abathengi bonke eveni ngaphandle kwesigaba ngaphandle kokubuka libala ngaphandle kokubuka likhiki ngoba ama services ethu asemahala kwanyalo
ngiyavakala simakhulu Nkosi imbukeli sesamba ukuthi udivele ke ukuthi unelungelo lekubika nangabe ungaphatheki kahle isitolo ungaxhumana ke nabo belibandla Eswatini Competition Commission kuvaka bandi ngemalungelo akho bayatholakala kuma social media pages abo kanye nasati incingweni taba Spotlight Market sitawena traffic update.
Lesi sikhathi lapho khona emaphoyisa agubha kuba khona kwawo eveni kulapho kukuthathwa khona sive ukuthi sike sihlale phansi sibuke bumcoka bemaphoyisa empilweni yabantu siphindze sibuke indlela letinsha tekuphepha kubo bonke bucala lobuveta sihloko sive sakangwane siyakhunjutwa ukuthi singawafaki emaphoyisa etinkulumeni tepolitiki ngoba liphoyisa alingeni futhi alingenelani nepolitiki emaphoyisa alwa nebucala netingoti temgwaco kuphela nje ingako emaphoyisa athi wonke umuntu eveni akahlale ngaphandle kwekunceneka ukuthi angahle ahlaselwe tilwane tasendle umuntu lohlala eSwatini akatiphilele atisebentele ngaphandle kwekwesaba kuhlaselwa kwemucwa nekucekelwa phansi kwempahla yakhe nawe wena lophathekile emaphoyisa athi digulele kahle uze uphile ngaphandle kwekuphathamiseka lokungenteka ngekuthi tidlova tingene tihlasele labo labakunakekelako kuleyo ndlu sive lesihlakaniphile nguleso lesiphakamisa kusebenta kwemaphoyisa nabo bonke labalwa nebucala ngale kwaloko timbungushe tiyawuwangenela emazinyane kungenamuntu ekhaya lo mlayeto niulethelwa ngemaphoyisa embube abambisene nomsakato wetithombe.
Asibinze sinimukele lesikhathi sidabuka simo semgwaqo na Constable Ndombendla sokuvusele fakuthi namhla ekseni kuhambeka kanjani emigwaqweni.
Ngikuvusele Magagula, ngivusele naye umbukeli wekusile breakfast show. Imigwaqo elivela kaNgwane sesiyihlolile iyahambeka cishe leminengi. Ikhona ke phaleyo lenato tikhinyabedo lesingathanza ukuthi umshayeli asashayela atinake kakhulu timpawu letiphakanyisiwe noma ke letibekiwe emgwaqweni lecaphelisa bona abashayeli ngebungozi. Lokunye ke lesingathanza ukufuthatha yena umshayeli kungaba ngiko nje ukuthi nyalo ekseni bantu labanengi babheke khona emisebenzini kanye nabo bantwana besikole siyababona linani labo linengi kakhulu emigwaqweni nyalo ekseni. Nje umshayeli asashayela akente isiqiniseko ukuthi bayanakeka ikakhulukazi labo labancane kuze ukuthi bangakhoni bangakhanzise bangena edingotini. Kwatise phela ukuthi labanye bakhona ukuthi baphekeleteleke, labanye futhi kanjalo ukhanza ukuthi bayatihambela lokhu benta ukuthi bagcine sebathola ingozi emigwaqweni. Madolobha elivela kaNgwane ahloliwe ekhathi edolobheni elikhulu laseMbabane tibane temgwaqo lesilapha eceleni kwaseposini atisebenzi tiveta nje umbala lomnyama. Kanti-ke letilapha kafiya noma ke lapha eceleni kwasesibhedlela nawuqhamuka khona industrial site noma ke nawuqhamuka ngakhona esibhedlela atiwuveti umbala lomthubi nalobovu tiveta nje lohlata kuphela. Sithi nje bashayeli abanakisise nakhona lapho. Sitaladi lesingisomhlolo road lesuka khona edolobheni sibheke khona esport leso sitaladi leso kuyakhiwa malangeni lamahle khona lapho lokwenta ukuthi lo mgwaqo vele sewuvaliwe. Kuletinye tigaba ke ukhanza ukuthi imotolo tisebenzisa munye umvila. Ukhanze ukuthi ngetithuba la kuphisitela khona njenganyalo ekseni imotolo ukhanze setiminyetelana khona lapho. Siyakhuthaza nje ukuthi asisebenzise letinye tindlela lesitasipangisela nangabe siqhamuka khona kubosibashini noma ke kubongwenya nasingena khona ekhathi edolobheni. Kanti-ke solo sesekhona khona lapho siyibonile emalangeni laphelile ukhanza ukuthi kunaletigulumba letisebentako khona lapho. Bantwana-ke besikolwa ukhanza sebemile sebabukela ngalesinye isikhathi sebalandzela letigulumba nabo bagijima lamva kwabo balingisele letisebenti temgwaqo. Siyakhuthaza nje ukuthi batali basasuka abantwana emakhaya labasebenzisa leso sitaladi ukuthi babakhude kuze ukuthi bangatikhanzise bangena ekhathi engotini. Kwatise phela ukuthi ingaba ingozi letigulumba natisebenta kubo bantwana. Umgwaqo lomkhulu osuka khona ehekeni lasengwenya ubheke khona kamanzini uyahambeka lokufaka ekhathi naye eMalagwane kude sikhinyabedo lesikhona khona lapho. Kanti ekhathi edolobheni kamanzini sitaladi lesiqhamuka khona eRimand singena khona edolobheni munye umvila longena edolobheni uvaliwe kulandzela kona ukuthi kuyakhiwa. Nawusuka edolobheni kamanzini ubheka khona emafutheni usuka nje lapha empilo kuyakhelehele sikadzile nakubumbana insimbi yesiphohlongo ukuthi tisebenti temgwaqo titabe tikhona lapho tivusetela wona emalayini emgwaqweni. Siyakhuthaza ke bashayeli nakhona lapho ukuthi nake timpawu letiphakanyisiwe nangabe kufanele ukuthi basebenzise munye umvila bente njalo bangakhanzise ba-overtake emkhathini bese-ke sebonela labo labasebentako. Sithi nje sisasebenzisa umgwaqo asibambisane ngakuto tonke tinhlangothi. Ngale kwaloko Thombeni naye umlaleli umbukeli emigwaqo elivela kaNgwane iyahambeka ngaphandle nje kwaleti lesengifishito tikhinyabedo kungaba kusisela yena umbukeli usuku loluhle naloluphephile basetha usebenzisa yona imigwaqo elivela kaNgwane.
Sibonga kakhulu Constable Ndombendle kusiniketa loyo mbiko. Asithathe likhefu sibuye netindzaba tangephandle.
Using an ATM is a simple process. You simply insert your card, punch in your PIN, and withdraw your cash. However, this simple process can open up you and your finances to some dangers. So it is very important that you proceed with caution when using the ATM and never share your PIN. When approaching the ATM, it is very important that you have your card ready, either in your hand or in your pocket, so that you do not waste time going through your belongings, either your wallet or your handbag, as this will give opportunities for thieves to act. Thirdly, put your money away immediately. Don't give anyone an opportunity to grab your cash or your card after a withdrawal. Lastly, always take your receipt after each and every transaction. It is important that you get your slip after every transaction because it contains crucial information about your balances, and that may lead you to be a victim of bolandela. Be cyber aware, be cyber smart.
Do you remember the spinning thing? This is us. This picture represents what we did. We were there when coronavirus wreaked havoc in our population. Together with other stakeholders, we formed the first line, controlling the spread of the unknown and unseen enemy of the people. Anxious ourselves, we collected dead bodies countrywide. At the time when no one wanted to come near dead bodies of loved ones, we did care for our fellow citizens. Thank you, the people of Eswatini and teams of first responders.
Fires rage outside the Lahore home of Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan after a day of protests as his supporters clashed with police. Crowds have been trying to disrupt attempts to arrest him for failing to appear in court on corruption and graft charges. On Tuesday night, Khan reached a compromise by signing a surety saying he would turn up in court.
Code of Criminal Procedure. According to Section 76 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, if this surety bond has been delivered to the arresting officer, he cannot then carry out an arrest. I gave the surety bond that I will appear in the court on March 18th. So now they have no reason to arrest me.
Police fired tear gas on several occasions to try to disperse Khan's supporters, who were determined to stand by him to the last.
We're standing with our leader Imran Khan, and we're ready to give our lives for him. He's waiting inside his home. He's not the type to run away.
The former cricket star turned politician has avoided public appearances since an assassination attempt last November. Khan believes that by arresting him, the authorities want to prevent him taking part in upcoming provincial elections. Last April, Khan was ousted from office by a no-confidence vote that he says was a plot by his successor Shahbaz Sharif's government. It took place after he tried to circumvent the move by dissolving Parliament and calling a snap election, but the Supreme Court ruled that this was a breach of the Constitution.
Welcome back. We're taking a look at international news, and the story just played is a story on clashes between Pakistan's police and supporters of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, who persisted for a second day outside his home in the eastern city of Lahore on Wednesday, a day after officers went to arrest him for failing to appear in court on graft charges. Rate tore past 100% in February, the country's statistics agency said on Tuesday, the first time it has hit triple figures since a period of hyperinflation in 1991, over 3 decades ago.
Prices keep going up and up.
Shoppers in Argentina are pinching pesos to make ends meet.
The other day I came and asked for 3 tangerines, 2 oranges, 2 bananas and a half a kilo of tomatoes. When he told me it cost 650 pesos, I told him to take everything out and leave just the tomatoes because I don't have enough money.
Everyone is suffering, both the sellers and the buyers. It's a very stressful situation.
The country's annual inflation rate has surged past 100%, hitting a 3-decade high. Prices rose by 6.6% in February, bringing the 12-month total to 102.5%. Argentina now joins 4 other countries, Zimbabwe, Lebanon, Venezuela, and Syria, in reporting triple-digit inflation last year. The government has been scrambling to come up with a solution. It introduced a program called Fair Prices that has temporarily frozen the cost of more than 1,700 items through December, but that's had little impact on halting the rampant inflation. The country's economic woes are nothing new, and much of the population now lives in poverty. But the government's failure to get a handle on the situation could end up jeopardizing its deal with the IMF. This month, Argentina is due to receive its next payment of about 5 billion euros, but the International Monetary Fund has warned stronger efforts need to be made by the government in order to keep its 41 billion euro program with the IMF on track.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the challenge posed by China prompted Britain to publish an updated defense strategy this week as the country tries to balance strategic threats with financial constraints at home.
Britain's so-called integrated review refresh says Russia's invasion of Ukraine means the West's collective security is now intrinsically linked to the outcome of the conflict.
It's forced the UK to acknowledge that our most immediate threats come much closer to home, and actually that the UK is in a really strong position, as the last year has shown, to provide military support to allies in Europe, particularly on Europe's eastern front.
On top of Britain's $58 billion annual defence spending, the review commits an additional $6 billion over the next 2 years. Of that, $2.3 billion will be spent on replenishing ammunition stocks that have been depleted through military aid given to Ukraine. The review reiterated Britain's ambition to increase defence spending to 2.5% of GDP, but the target of meeting that goal by 2030 has been removed.
If the UK really wants to be global Britain, wants to be a force on the world stage, wants to be at the front of the pack when it comes to responding to Russia or to China, then we need more money to do that. At the moment, we're trying to run a first-rate military, which is up there competing with, the US and China and Russia, on a second-rate economy, because we're lagging behind many other of our peers at the moment.
Britain's posture toward China has gained much attention. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said China poses an epoch-defining challenge.
It's a country with fundamentally different values to ours, and its behaviour over the past few years has been concerning. More authoritarian at home, more assertive overseas.
But Sunak stopped short of labelling China a threat, despite pressure from some in his party.
That China's policy can change, and no one knows whether or not China will invade Taiwan, whether or not China will continue down this more assertive path. So I think the UK government wants to keep its options open, and I think the UK also recognises that China will be an important country to work with on addressing global challenges.
An additional $3.6 billion will be spent to support the delivery of nuclear-powered submarines for the Australian Navy as part of the AUKUS Indo-Pacific Defence Pact with the US and Australia. Beijing said the deal put the region on a dangerous path. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
Teachers, London Underground train drivers and civil servants joined striking doctors on Wednesday in a mass stoppage as Britain's finance minister was due to unveil his tax and spending plan. With hundreds of thousands of people due to walk out, it threatens to be the biggest single day of industrial action since a wave of unrest began last year.
These doctors have been striking since Monday.
as have tens of thousands of their colleagues across England. At £14.09 an hour, they say a newly qualified doctor earns less than pret-a-manger coffee shop staff. Years of below-inflation pay increases mean they've effectively had a 26% wage cut since 2008, a situation exacerbated by the UK's cost of living crisis. Meanwhile, the workload and patient waiting lists are at record highs, driving scores of doctors away from the public health service with burnout.
I've worked and trained for years and years, built up debt, paying for exams, paying for fees, and I can't afford to live a basic life.
You know, we've looked after people, but we feel like the people who are meant to be looking after us, i.e. our employers and the government, have sort of negated on that agreement.
Their grievances echo across the public sector, with hundreds of thousands of workers walking off the job today, calling for their wages to keep up with rocketing inflation, which remains above 10%. A two-day stoppage by teachers is expected to affect every school in England, and the walkout by train staff in London left the entire underground tube network at a standstill. Unions show little sign of ending the strikes that began last year, but the government continues to resist their demands. It says it wants to work with unions to achieve, quote, fair and reasonable pay rises, but only if strike action ends.
Uncollected rubbish clogged streets in France's capital on Wednesday as unions made an 11th hour bid to stop a deeply unpopular pensions reform from being passed. Opinion polls show that around 2/3 of French people are against the legislation to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64, extend contributions for a full pension, and scrap some special privileges for public sector employees.
Overflowing bins. Trash bags piled so high they've reached the height of passers-by. Some 7,000 tons of rubbish are festering in the streets of Paris as the city's trash collectors and incinerator workers continue to strike against the government's plan to raise the retirement age. The French Interior Ministry has asked Paris' City Hall to force workers to collect the trash or use alternative means to clear it. But the mayor's office is largely in support of the strikers and is against the reforms.
I find it unbearable that cities, in this case Paris, on this matter of garbage collection, find themselves victims, so to speak, of a social conflict and of the government's inability to find a positive outcome through dialogue.
The garbage collectors have agreed to continue picking up trash in particular areas for sanitary and safety reasons, at markets, along protest routes, and at nursing homes. And it's not just Paris that has a rubbish problem. Similar strikes are hitting other cities too. These incinerator workers in Saint-Brieuc in Brittany, they've agreed to let 3 of their 13 trucks continue rounds.
We're fighting against the retirement reforms, not against the population or elected officials. That's why we decided on a compromise.
Back-breaking work, in contact with potentially dangerous material, and on shifts that often begin in the middle of the night. The garbage workers currently retire at 57. But the reforms would, like for workers in other sectors, add 2 more years. For them, that's simply too much. And their strike, with its very visible and smelly overflowing trash, has become emblematic of the nation's pushback against these pension reforms.
Hundreds of protesters took to the streets in Senegal's capital on Tuesday in a peaceful show of support for the country's opposition leader who's facing trial later this week. It was the first of several days of scheduled demonstrations backing Ousmane Sonko. The 46-year-old politician will go to court on Thursday after being charged in a civil lawsuit against him by Senegal's tourism minister for alleged defamation and public insults.
There may still be a year to go before Senegal's next presidential election, but tensions are already running high. Thousands of supporters of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko gathered in the capital for the first of 3 days of planned protests. Sonko is due in court on Thursday to resume hearings. He's on trial for defamation after allegedly accusing the tourism minister of embezzlement.
Don't let anyone make you believe that you don't have the right to go to court on Thursday. I invite everyone present here to come to court. The hearing is public.
If found guilty, he could be banned from running for president next year. His supporters accuse President Macky Sall of weakening his opponents with false accusations ahead of the election, which he denies. They're also angry over speculation that Sall could bypass the constitution and seek a third presidential term. The president has neither confirmed nor denied that he plans to run again, but in a statement has accused Sonko and his party of adopting an insurrectionary mindset.
PASTEF and its leader have brought hatred to the political sphere, and for the first time in our political history, they have built barriers that label anyone who expresses a different view as an enemy. Worse still, PASTEF and its leader are trying to bypass justice through violence.
Ousmane Sonko came third in the last election but has since gained support, particularly among a disillusioned youth. He's also facing trial on charges of rape and making death threats in 2021, which he denies. Senegal has long been seen as a beacon of democracy in West Africa, but critics have become frustrated with government crackdowns on dissent. In 2021, violent clashes broke out across the country after Sonko was arrested for sexual assault, leading to the deaths of 14 people.
The death toll from Cyclone Freddie in Malawi and Mozambique passed 200 on Tuesday after the record-breaking storm triggered floods and landslips in its second strike on Africa in less than 3 weeks.
Lining up outside a mortuary in Malawi's second-largest city, these residents have been called in to identify their loved ones. Many people are still missing.
You see, this area here was occupied by houses. The whole area here from up there, and people are gone. People are gone, things are gone, everything is gone. Plenty of bodies down there in the mud there. Plenty of bodies.
Rescue efforts are still underway.
The child was stuck in the mud up to her neck. She was crying out for help. Even though the current was very strong, we managed to cross and rescue her. It was very difficult, but we managed to pull her out.
Cyclone Freddie made landfall in Malawi over the weekend, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Roads were sliced open, swallowing entire homes. Many residents are still without electricity. Malawi is one of the poorest countries in the world. Its government is now appealing for local and international aid to help those affected. The tropical storm first developed near Australia in February, then made its way across the southern Indian Ocean. It first made landfall in the region last month, before returning just a few days ago. It has also pummeled Malawi's neighbors, Madagascar and Mozambique. Freddie is one of the most powerful tropical storms ever recorded in the southern hemisphere.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has met with top Ethiopian leaders in an effort to repair damaged ties after the brutal two-year civil war against forces in the northern Tigray region left an estimated 500,000 people dead, deepening the peace and promoting a transitional justice policy which would seek accountability for atrocities committed by all sides in the conflict are high on the agenda.
A traditional Ethiopian coffee ceremony provided a good start to Secretary of State Antony Blinken's meetings with top government and Tigrayan leaders in Addis Ababa, with all sides eager to repair ties strained by 2 years of a grueling civil war. Blinken took a moment to reflect on the lives lost and the pain many endured.
The conflict was absolutely devastating. Hundreds of thousands killed, widespread sexual violence against women, millions forced to flee their homes, many left in need of food, shelter, medicine, hospitals, schools, businesses shelled, destroyed. The cessation of hostilities agreement is a major achievement and step forward, saving lives, changing lives. The guns are silent. As the fighting has stopped, human rights violations have declined.
Blinken said African leadership, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and Tigrayan leaders all deserve credit for the cessation of hostilities reached in November, supported by the United States. And he brought some good news, pointing out that the U.S. is the biggest bilateral donor of aid to Ethiopia.
Today, I announced an additional $331 million in emergency food and humanitarian assistance that will reach millions of people, millions of Ethiopians affected by conflict, affected by drought.
One expert told VOA that normalizing bilateral ties after the brutal civil war will be a process and not a switch. But the United States is in a unique position to help.
And I think that's where the United States has a very critical role to play as a trusted actor, as a guarantor. It can ensure that Tigrayan interests are being considered as both sides move forward. It can, ensure that Ethiopian sovereignty and Ethiopian interests are also being respected.
Another expert told VOA that Abiy is eager to normalize ties and get back into a U.S. duty-free trade program, but she urged caution.
What he has been doing is downplaying the atrocities that have occurred by all warring parties, but also his own, by his own direction in places like Tigray. And so he is looking to get economic relief from the United States. He is looking to get other partners around the world interested in being donor nations, in having free trade, in bringing businesses back to Ethiopia.
Blinken said that with peace taking hold, Ethiopia is moving in the right direction, and the U.S. shares its aspirations, but is not ready to welcome it back into the U.S. trade program right now. Cindy Sain, VOA News.
With fewer people coming to work at offices in Manhattan, New York City's commercial real estate market has lost about $400 billion in value since the start of the pandemic.
New York City is full of panoramic views, but many of its offices now sit empty. Office occupancy, defined as the percentage of people who come to the office, is only 43% of pre-pandemic levels. The effect on the economy, $12 billion in lost spending by these workers, leading to closed retail and restaurants. But the bigger risk is to the equity that's invested in many of these office buildings.
COVID sort of started this off, but this has had major repercussions for office values in particular. And what we found is that those changes have caused a reduction in value of about $400 billion over these last 2 years.
2/3 of New York City office leases will come up for renewal in the next 3 to 4 years. Van Nieuwenberg says this could present more challenges for the New York market.
So I like to say that the second shoe is yet to drop on the office market. So what we see if we sort of take a projection of these future rollovers is that, all in all, about a 40% reduction in value for the New York City office stock.
What will happen to New York City if work at home becomes the norm?
I think the worst case scenario for large cities, including New York City, is that employees do not return to the office. This becomes a new way of working. And so we'll then have, a lot of empty, vacant downtown areas where tax revenues are falling. There's not enough money coming in for the city to stabilize the situation. And we go into this downward spiral, this urban doom loop.
While the new research provides a grim forecast for the broader commercial real estate market, high-end properties like this one at 425 Park Avenue are seeing near to full occupancy for long-term leases. These buildings feature amenities such as meditation rooms, Michelin-starred chefs providing in-office catering to tenants, and a state-of-the-art coffee bar.
We're very fortunate that we did build this with the vision that the partners had to build it, because we are attracting more leases that are going to be signed. We're about 86 to 89% occupied today.
But the handful of such luxurious office buildings represents just a fraction of Manhattan's commercial real estate market. To find a solution, New York City Mayor Eric Adams recently visited an office building in Lower Manhattan that was converted into apartments.
The bottom line is we must make it easier to convert office buildings like the one we just toured into housing for New Yorkers. We're talking about millions of square feet of office space.
With recent efforts to convert offices into housing and New York City's vibrant cultural and culinary destinations, there is still hope that New York City will attract enough people to survive the long-term effects of remote work.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday issued an executive order directing federal agencies to step up enforcement of a bipartisan gun control law he signed 9 months ago that expands background checks for gun buyers and strengthens rules allowing the temporary removal of firearms from a potentially dangerous person.
Just 2 months ago, a shooter opened fire in a dance hall during a Lunar New Year celebration, killing 11 people and injuring 9 others.
A tragedy that has pierced the soul of this nation here in Monterey Park, the San Gabriel Valley, the heart of the Asian American community.
That's where Biden took his latest efforts to curb gun violence, issuing an executive order to bolster the bipartisan gun control law he signed 9 months ago that expands background checks for buyers under age 21 and cracks down on interstate gun trafficking.
My executive order directs my Attorney General to take every lawful action possible to move us as close as we can to universal background checks without new legislation.
Gun control advocates welcomed Biden's order.
This will take the predominantly large portion of people who are selling guns for profit and force them to make that decision, whether or not they want to continue to sell guns or whether or not they want to become a licensed dealer and sell guns with background checks.
The Safer Communities Act passed last year also sets aside federal funding for states to create and implement so-called red flag laws that prevent convicted domestic abusers from buying firearms and provides more federal funding for violence intervention programs and mental health services. Biden is pushing for more congressional action, including reenacting the ban on assault weapons and eliminating legislation that shields the firearms industry from lawsuits. Observers say it signals a shift in U.S. gun politics.
The gun safety movement itself is doing a much better job at pushing its Democratic allies to take action on this issue. And I think the other is the diminishing power of the National Rifle Association, which is not as scary to Democratic politicians as it used to be.
With slim prospects of additional gun legislation under the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, activists say Biden should take more executive actions, including appointing a point person to coordinate federal responses to gun violence and directing the federal agency in charge of overseeing federal firearms licenses to revoke licenses of repeat offenders. The U.S. has some of the weakest gun laws compared to other industrialized nations and the most guns in the world, 390 million or 1.2 guns per capita. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News, Washington.
It's 29 minutes after 7. We've come to the end of our international news. After the break, we're speaking to Sales and Marketing Manager from Emandini Boreholes.
To date, the industry is enhanced. It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have for you. But we'll be right back just after the break, and we'll give you more of Missed Fee.
I pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who paid for a TV license and what are they paying for?
The owners of TV set and gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at NetBank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini mobile imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
Alright, welcome back. It's a Thursday. We are doing njalo ngabo Thursday sikhulumisana ne-Emantini Boreholes. Sisinaye lapha their sales and marketing manager Ayanda Ndlangamandla. Kutosicatulula nje ngema-services kanye nama-products laba provider-ko. Njengoba shitobe nasingene ukuthi namhla silabe sibuka kabanti nje groundwater and their advantages. So nje siyabuka nje ihluke letihlukahlukene. So lo bacala kuba khona ehlelweni emavikini elengcila. Sekuvusela Ayanda, welcome back. Mhlawumbe singakachubeki just for the benefit of my viewers mhlambe la solanga khoni kubukela the show. I think khona nje labangibudile ukuthi awusibonile ukukhuluma neAmandini Boreholes babo bantu beAmandini Boreholes just nje kafishane nje Ayanda kusho ukuthi ni bobani mhlambe nama services ke leni wa provider ko as a company.
Thank you, Lulu. Ngivusela babukele emakhaya. Shothi Emandini Boreholes we are based in Manzini, kuqala nje kabanti nge-location yethu. We are based in Manzini, Esther House, office number 8, and people can follow us on our Facebook page, Emandini Boreholes, and our contact details. Now on our contact page, go to at 781337 they can also come to our offices, but just check physically if they want to inquire more about us. But our service is mostly to supply borehole drilling. So we're trying to provide water to help in the issue of water and the previous week, because last week we were not around, we were talking about budgeting. We spoke about jetting, and we said jetting is when we're drilling MR wells mostly, and then we talk of percussion, and we said it's the slower one, but in and then we talk of the sludging. Sludging sisebenzisana kakhulu ne hand auger, because kuyasita lokho ukuthi ikhona ukuthi ingachwensi kule mihlaba lesi sihlangabetane nayo, so iyona iyakhona ukutheklisha yonke imihlaba ejule yonke imihlaba.
Yeah, friends. So ngicabanga ukuthi kulamaviki losolukhona Ayanda ngicabanga mhlambe senginayo idea kancane nje ngemsebenzini indako, so ngifuna ukuthi lesingena ku topic yethu nje namuhla groundwater. I think ungabe usichazele nje ukuthi kahle kahle what are we talking about and imcoka kangana nje lokuthi vele yendiwe le process le.
Okay, when we're talking about groundwater, it is not just it's just water from the ground. Nasibuka groundwater sibuka into eziningi ukuthi sekungena sekungene bantu. We have to have specialized people, well trained, and it involves machinery at large. Leta ukhona ukuthi bese licopheleni phezulu ukuthi likwade ukuthi litrille lawo mandi. Nasibuketa groundwater futhi asigcini nje lokubuka lokho kuphela, sibuketa naloko ukuthi in order for us to have groundwater kufuneke ukuthi kunecala litulu. And as lina litulu, some water gets to be run off but others kuyakhona ukuthi kube nale aquifer when the conditions allows, ukuthi akhona ukuthi manufacture underground, that's making the groundwater lesiyasiwadinga ke for ukuthi abe perfect supply for your water source. So labanye bangaye bathi the places with the more rainfall, they tend to have more water. Can say that is not normally the case, because other clients which is not normally the case, because bottom lands, low lands, those ones normally have much water supply. No so tata kubugeta, and and this takes us to even borehole siting, because we have to see this borehole, is it situated in the right place? We have to go and survey, do all those things. So losizama ukuthi sithole ukuthi ngabe singayithola phi groundwater ekhaya lakho. So yes, it's part of the survey lokubuka ukuthi emanti anganani, so konke lokho kuyadingakala, because at the end of the day kufuneka wathi ukuthi la ugubha khona ugubha once off. Umuntu angabe sesongena endlekweni letinye letabe sesiyamcharge yethu utitshela ukuthi lokhu kutamnciphisela ama cost. for ukubhadala ama-expenses emanti.
So vele ezini sachubeka lokho ukuthi lamanti la ngaphansi anganani nasenikhanza ukuthi mhlawumbe vele cha akulungile ukuthi vele nichubeke nemsebenzweni wokugubha kube clients esihlakala kanjani kukhona enye indlela mhlawumbe leni bese nisetanga noma nje vele ni advisor ukuthi kude leni ngakhona kwenda ngalokuthi kude lamanti lanele kukhona indonye leni kwendako mangabe nikhanza kude emanti la
Nasikhanze kude emanti lanele to make an example of the current situation that we're in. Sinyalo sigubha empaka for epilepsy, so we've reached 82 meters solo emanti singawatholi so lokuphuma nje lithuli kuphela but sithi nasifika kulo 82 meters veka phuma but veka phuma kancane. So what we normally do siye sichubeke sijile. That is what I once highlighted esagcana lehlelo ukuthi siye sichubeke sijile vele kuye kusibidela ukuthi sichubeke sijile, put more casing in order for us ukuthi sikhone ukuthi sigcine sitholile lamanti, because sikwe i-survey yethu ayivami ukuthi ischedule wrong whenever we detect ukuthi kunemanti lana, no matter the meters, but suke ku concluded ukuthi vele manti sigcine siwatholile in that particular place.
So nangabe kwendeke kanjalo kuyithatha isikhathi lesithe ukuthi nigcine notfolele emanti akuhambe in the long run ukuthi bese kubangela i-client inkinga okanje ukuthi manje mhlambe emva kwabo 5 years akasakhona ukuphuma mhlambe sekunedinkinga letithide ingabe vele mhlambe lokho kuyendeka yini noma nasenivele nigcine notfolile nje after lo 80 meters bese sekurana smoothly nje isikhathi lesithe
nasesigcine siwatholile bese sekurana smoothly. So the client can have water for over 15 years or so, and as long as it's proper maintenance. Now awanake kahle ukuthi that those specialized people by the check aba assess ukuthi so lokusahamba kahle konke yini, but then akude dinkinga la bese uhlangabetana nato, because when we drill sibona ukuthi lamanti aphuma kancane asimi, which is the benefit of it. Siyachubeka thina sijwile sendele lokho ukuthi when we leave that person with that borehole ade ukuthi lamanti lawa ngeke bese sophinda soyasithenza ukuthi aduse manje amakaphelele and all that.
It's more money for the
and
clients.
It's more money for the clients, that's true.
Why? Ngoba phela kumele ukuthi bese seniyambonelela because ubudget ukuthi mhlambe ngidawukhokha 50,000 ngiyabekisa sekukosa ukuthi salabhadala 80,000 kukhona indloko kumbonelela mhlambe nasenimsolo nibuka ukuthi vele solo kude manje solo niyachubeka nishona.
Unfortunately bese kufika kule lakuthenini we have equipments to use and those equipments are expensive. So if singaba lenient to the clients ngakhanza sesendilo as a company, because we've got casing yadula nje ukuthi sikufakele casing C10 and it's also scarce to get. Lately nje I've been informing clients ukuthi bekukatse kude i-casing sithula lo mnyumgoti ngabatshela ukuthi okay nitasimela kancane, we'll be delayed to get to you guys because sisemele i-casing, we need more casing. And the casing yadula as being highlighted, and we get it normally in South Africa if singakayitholi locally.
Okay. So I think nasingena nje kuma advantages ayanda mhlambe maku advantages kuba ne borehole. Is it proper ukuthi ngaba nayo nje i-borehole mhlambe ngihlala edolobheni noma kakhulu vele ilunga la etinzaweni ezisemakhaya la kude kahle khona lamanti la kahle lahlandekile lahlobile?
I-borehole ivuma yonke indzawo ayichwensi ngokuthi uyendela kuphi, and the advantages of it nje kwekuqala it's cheaper in the long run. It's a long-term investment nangasho kanjalo, so in the long run it saves you cost nangabe uthole the good people to do for you the job, because as we know ukuthi if yendeke kahle into all goes well, so nangabe uthole bantu abatakwendela kahle your drilling borehole yakho, it becomes a lifetime investment. You can even have it for over 15 years. And it increases its property value. It increases property value to the sense that, let's say, when it's cut as a drought, so when you can go to so when you have a borehole, and you are able to go to swimming pool yako, or you can water your garden or whatever crops you are doing at that particular time. So say increase the property value yako kanjalo, and iyagusita gogokuthi ilimit negokuthi thinking kumaspali, because nangabe usebenzisa emanti nje ekubhadalela, let's say using water services, maybe kungaba nema restrictions ukuthi ingadi yakho asese siyinisele kangakhi ngelanga, uyabona, just to try ukuthi sisave imali. Kanti lana uyakwati ukuthi usebenzisa imali sinoma, because you know ukuthi imali wawabhadalela imali yakho ngeke asasho umthombo wawo. And ke lokunye kuba nalama health benefits ukuthi you are guaranteed ukuthi you'll get safe and healthy water lotoba wathola lapho.
Okay. So I think naqala sayithenze nje kancane indaba ukuthi nangabe vele sifuna kuba nayo le borehole mhlambe singumphakathi community mhlambe silicembu inhlangano nje sifuna kuba na le borehole ingabe mhlambe labo bamhlaboni abasita yini kuleyo ndzawo sebakhona vele mhlambe senike nabasita before.
Yes, labantu laba kanjalo yes baside. Recently nje I've been contacted by some clients in Lozita, opposite Lozita, if you can put it that way. But today bayahlanganisela by nanjansana bamakhaya lang 3 and others bathe nsangweni by community nabanye bafuna ukugubhela for isonto, so they were asking the whereabouts ukuthi ngabe bangenta kanjani in order for them to obtain a borehole. And it's almost the same but maybe bona because they are doing it as a group, so ema cost minimize if they are able to divide it amongst themselves. Maybe and we allow naloko ukuthi bakwadi ukuthi babhadale in installment form lokwenda ukuthi le mali ngabakami.
Also, they pay for just one borehole.
For just one borehole, nabakhona ukuthi bayisebenzise bonke. Although we advise at times if maybe makhaya abaye bangakwendi lokho ukuthi bashare, because let's say for instance lo mntalo uyashona bantwana batuke ukuthi borehole yalakhaya uyabona, maybe sekungaye kube nalobo budlungu nje kudlukudlu nangabeka kanjalo ukuthi bantwana sebamangala ukuthi hawo laba lasebacethe manje asekhaya lasebakuphi, unless then they've picked a spot less neutral ukuthi they will drill the borehole. Exactly.
So bese kubhaliswa bani vele, I think that's also important ukuthi bese kubhaliswa ubani lokuthi ngibani the owner kahle kahle ngabe ni lapho nihambe nifike phi ekubhaliseni.
If it's for a community nje, let's say for instance it's Tunzini, we'll say ukuthi lena borehole yase Tunzini. And if it's for a church, we'll say ukuthi lena borehole maybe a trumpet assembly. On the case of laba nje they hadn't decided ukuthi ngabe le borehole badothi yabani kahle kahle. So that is what I was trying to get from them. Naloko kusizama ukuthi ngiba advise lokho ukuthi uyatuka usilana benibukile yini ngokuthi this may backfire again ukuthi let's say balana bayadinga ngale whole process leseniyendile nini ngeke yini labanye bese bevanga ngazo senithathe emanda kibo. Yeah.
Okay, so uthi uma ngabe you come as a group niyakhona ukubhadala in installments.
Yes,
after you have paid how many percent of the total money?
I'll say 50% upfront. But again, labanye ukhanza kusaba mkhondo 50% upfront. So we allow lokho ukuthi sithi okay, at least pay up for the survey fee first, then lele ngeke sidabe sesiya negotiate ukuthi how do you pay.
Okay. So ngifuna sikhulume le nansa gubha nansa funa lamandi lokho ukuthi ngabe are there any cases mhlambe lenike naba nawo of contamination of lamandi, and if not nangabe kunikhanza in the future ngabe vele mhlambe nibe senibuka ukuthi nikulungisa kanjani lokho.
Lesesibajulile so far kubebede lesiye sibe nabo nje ngilabo lokhanza ukuthi ushaya ukuthi wadrilelwa ngilabanye, and then wabese soniketa other people the job to install for them the pump. There's a client nje we called lately kwalase, I think it was Luthe wathi lo make iborehole pump yakhe iborehole yakhe ikhipha nje emandla alitsaka, and uthi nje kusukela nje bamfakela ukhipha emandla alitsaka wadrilelwa ngilabanye kwase sekuinstalla labanye ipump. So in that aspect sekuye kufuneka ukuthi sine sihambe siyobuka, because akayade nale measurement ukuthi umgodi wakhe so wakhohlwa nokuthi umgodi wakhe bekakhashana kanganani. So it can be either ukuthi le pump ayisiyo le nangijanisana le lenze kahle, noma kubathi nabayifaka kwaba ne fault nyana somewhere ukuthi ba clearishe kahle lamandi, or is there casing or something.
So lama pumps wona enu are sustainable kanganani, angalasa sikhathi lesithi singanani nje?
Our pumps can last for over 15 years because thina sesibukede nasekufakela ipump sibukeda lokho ukuthi nomgoso onganani. So our pump differs according to the size of the borehole ukuthi yenze kanganani. Nangabe is that shallow, vele sidodinga a bigger pump. Data ukhona ukuthi nayidonsa lamandi its energy ayibe powerful kanganga ukuthi ingakhona ukuthi idonse amande abe on the minimum side azayofika ethangeni. And uthi nawavulele ethangeni aphume kahle angaphumi ukuthi atowuthi nje kancane maybe for 20 minutes bese aphelelwa ngemandla.
So after 15 years what steps should I take? Mhlambe ngiphinze ngiyaxhumana nani niyeda ngicheckela ukuthi konke kusahamba kahle ni pump yami sesekahle ngabe vele mhlambe lokho kuyendeka yini?
You can do that. We allow that ukuthi ungakwenda ukuthi sihle stock checkela ukuthi kusahamba kahle yini. We give that allowance to my clients.
Okay. So I know ukuthi sikhuluma nje ngama advantages but also ngicabanga ukuthi letinye timvutiba abakhona ama disadvantages mhlambe kusinyeta nje just a few mangaba khona ama disadvantages of owning or having a borehole ekhaya kakho.
Ama disadvantages kungaba ngiloko ukuthi if ungakatholi abantu labadakwendela kahle iborehole yakho ingahle itseleke noma amakhesi nakangafakeki kahle kungahle kutseleke and nangabe kungaka installeki kahle ama pumps njengalo ile case lena nje emande aphuma ukhanza ukuthi zodle emande lalisaka just because kune fault lingakendeki kahle somewhere and lokho bese sekuba i disadvantage futhi ngaloko ukuthi kule client bese kuyayicharge kanzina bese kaditshele ukuthi ubhadala once off.
All right. So as a company, because as kutakona lamanye ama companies mhlambe la provide the same services as your company does. Yini nini lenienda differently? Lenibeka nje eceleni nje as emandini boreholes. Ngoba sizama kukhanga abantu la ukuthi vele bethe so yini nini lenienda differently eleta uvele leta ukhanga ama customer ene ukuthi yes ngifuna ukuthi bangendele basemandini boreholes.
I think this one that beats them all is that we provide drilling services at the lowest prices. So bantu bayakhona ukuthi nasebathithe onke ama quotations elabanye bathi nabafika kithi bamangale ukuthi awu kanti nishiphe kanjena even with the pump installations. One client of mine from Baga uthi nakabuka quotation wathi hayi mina bengithi maybe a scam. I was still inquiring about it because consults are pertaining my pumps because they are way expensive than you guys have quoted.
Okay. So machinery is it advanced? Ngiyakhuluma ukuthi nawusachaza ecaleni masafika ukuthi one of your achievements as a company is that you were able to buy umshini lomusha for lokudriller. So imishini and equipment nje nisebenzisa kwesezingeni elifanele imvelo.
Yes, it is, and it's very, very efficient. Isibambise nje kakhulu. Siyakhona ukuthi sijule without interruption. Interruption lekuba nayo nje ukuthi if that drilling place lesiyijulago ukhanza usilomgosi mutse, then we have to add a casing ukhanza usifuneka bawathathe site kubuyele the drilling spot ngokuthi bayokhona ukuthi bayi-install.
Okay. So nasibuka nje social media interaction because ngiyathi lokhu vele uhlalo vete ama questions labaye bawabude ingabe vele mhlambe lokunye labakubudile nje nasibuka nje this week labafise kuva kabandi ngayi ama services and ma provider ko bebabuda kuthini nje.
It was basically ukuthi solo bacela the quotations ukuthi basibakhothele of our services that we provide naloko sibabude location yethu labaningi ke bese bagathe ukuthi the show back to tawina so bebabude ukuthi batawina nini kanti ubutwa ini and all that.
Okay. All right. So lastly ingabe baxhumana nani kanjani nje how do they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of us on our Facebook page. They can follow us on our Facebook page with the Emandini Boreholes. They can also get us on WhatsApp on our contact details. That's 78 13 37 19 or 79 635369.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anda. Siyabonga. Sisakubona next week kahle kanti ke mbukeli mangabe you have more questions you can contact them nontwane nabo ka Facebook njengoba sakavetile ukuthi bakhona ka Facebook bayayiphendula leyo mibuto yenu leni nayo. Let's take a break. Star West aqhubeka nehlelo.
Not all the rainwater flows into rivers and ultimately into oceans. Some of it is absorbed by the soil. This water is known as groundwater. Although it is not visible, it is almost everywhere, flowing beneath the ground under your home, cities, farms, and deserts. Groundwater is an important source of fresh water on Earth. It is the source of water for many lakes and wells. Many of us drink groundwater every day. That is because hand pumps and tube wells tap groundwater to provide water for consumption.
I'm here in Gode, Ethiopia, where WFP is delivering forecast-based anticipatory action programs to thousands of families. Extreme weather is driving hunger around the world. Climate-related disasters are no longer a surprise. Advances in science, technology, and humanitarian coordination means they are now much easier to predict. WFP uses weather forecasts to anticipate, mitigate, and prevent the impact of climate emergencies on vulnerable communities. By acting before a crisis unfolds, we can stop it in its tracks.
iyo hawadan iyo waqtigan maanta saadaasha abaar adag baan soo maray aad u adag eegana weli shakigi iyo dareenkii baa nagu jira wax weyn oo kaga baxnayna ma hayno dhulku weli waa abaaro wuu ooman yahay roobku weli madciin yarun baa nagu daadeen naguma diin waxa weeyaan aad iyo aad baanu u shakisanahay ilaahay baan naga bixin karaa.
When forecasts from July and August this year predicted a drought, WFP triggered 3 anticipatory actions. We informed the local community of the forecasted drought and shared ways to cope to reduce the impact on their land, livestock, and most importantly, their families.
The communities are getting a message about their livestock, how to save their livestock during the drought, and also how to save their households by keeping food.
WFP provides cash transfers to help families prepare for the drought. They can buy nutritious food for their families and protect their assets and livestock.
One thing that we are trying to ensure is that every woman of this community is able to receive cash through different delivery mechanisms.
hay'adda WFP gargaarka ayna siisay waxay ii taraysaa xaafadayda gudaheeda marka aan idhaahdo xaafadayda raashinka baan u gadayaa khudaarta baan u gadayaa wixii lagu darayay raacayaan u gadayaa maryihii baan u gadayaa caruurtii kabahaan u xidhayaa shaambaday ku qabaysanayeen tii dharka lagu dhaqayay waan ku noolaanaynaa.
In the Somali region of Ethiopia, WFP is supporting fodder production to help reduce potential livestock loss from the predicted drought. The region has already experienced huge losses in livestock due to a lack of pasture and water caused by previous droughts.
What you see here is an embankment that we have built in this location to make sure that water stays for a long period of time, helping to recharge underground water to rehabilitate this rangeland that helps communities and who depend on livestock to have feed for the livestock in the next 6 months.
The climate crisis is no longer a glimpse into the future, but the daily reality for this community. Investment in climate action must increase. It must prioritise helping communities adapt to the changing climate and prevent losses and damages on the front lines of the crisis. We must stop predictable climate hazards becoming humanitarian disasters.
It's 2 minutes before 8 o'clock. Sesifika maphethelweni ihlelo lefulo mhla ekuseni sibakhuluhlasana nathi lamuhla. Sesemba ukuthi inikuthokodele sibe sicatha nje ukukhulumisana na Sales and Marketing Manager Ayanda losukwa eMandini Borehole sasichazela kabanti njengema services la provider ngiyo lenkampani bayatholakala ke ekhasini labo la Facebook eMandini Borehole. Mangabe ufuna ukuva kabanti engaloko laba ku provider ko sakubona kusasa nibe nelisuku loluhle nisale kahle.